You know, the world of academic research, especially when it comes to getting funding, it feels more and more like a pressure cooker every single year.
Oh, absolutely. It's intense.
And it isn't just about having that brilliant, groundbreaking idea anymore, is it?
No, not at all.
It's really about how you communicate that brilliance, how persuasively, how efficiently you can make it cut through all the noise. The competition for grants is just, well, it's fierce.
Mm-hmm. And the workload.
Exactly. Let's be honest, the sheer administrative side of grant, writing all those literature reviews, getting the budget justifications just right, it can just completely devour a researcher's time.
It really can. It pulls you right away from the bench,
Yeah.
from the actual discovery work.
But what if there was, maybe, a different way to handle this? There's this new class of artificial intelligence tools emerging, and they're promising, well, a real paradigm shift.
That's right.
So today, we're taking a deep dive into how these tools, specifically Google's Gemini Pro and Notebook LM, are really starting to transform how scholarly proposals get crafted.
It's a fascinating development.
Our mission, really, for this deep dive is simple. We want to give you a shortcut to getting properly informed on this whole new approach. Think of these AI platforms not as replacements, but more like sophisticated co-pilots.
Or virtual research assistants,
Yeah.
yeah. They're there to augment your work, not take over.
Exactly. Augment.
And by strategically using these AI tools, researchers can, genuinely free up their most valuable asset, their brain power, their cognitive resources.
Right.
It means offloading some of those super time-consuming tasks that used to just dominate the schedule. And that lets academics focus on the really high-value stuff,
Right.
like pioneering genuinely novel hypotheses, doing that deep critical thinking, and weaving together that compelling strategic story that actually gets reviewers excited.
Makes sense. And this deep dive, just so you know, is built on insights from a framework called the New Paradigm of Scholarly Proposal Crafting. It's all about leveraging this new toolkit.
Mm-hmm. A really comprehensive look.
So, ready to unpack this new era of research collaboration?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start by looking at the two main players we'll be talking about, Gemini Pro and Notebook LM. Let's kick off with Gemini Pro. What makes it so different? Why is it often called a reasoning engine?
Well, Gemini 2.5 Pro is not just another large language model, or LLM. And those AIs trained on tons of text.
Right, the ones we hear about all the time.
Yeah. This is engineered differently. It's designed as a proper reasoning model built for genuinely complex tasks. Our source actually highlights its significantly better performance on things like math and science benchmarks.
Okay, so that gives it credibility for academic work.
Exactly. It's built for smarter problem-solving, more logical processing, not just text prediction.
And what about that big technical spec everyone's talking about, the 1 million token context window? What does that actually mean for a researcher?
That's not just an upgrade, it's a fundamental shift. So 1 million tokens translates to roughly 1,500 pages of text.
1,500 pages.
Yeah, within one single conversational context. Imagine feeding it a whole book, your entire PhD thesis, or like dozens of really dense research papers all at once.
Wow. So it can hold the entire background reading in its mind at the same time.
Pretty much. The key idea here is you're not limited by how much you can mentally juggle. You can synthesize across a whole field's core papers in one interaction. It massively speeds up getting your head around a new domain.
That sounds like a total game changer for synthesis, for seeing the big picture across documents. What about handling different kinds of information, not just text?
Good question. That's its native multimodality. It means Gemini Pro understands and processes information across text, images, audio, and video, all simultaneously.
Okay, so how does that help with a proposal?
Well, think about it. You could upload a PDF of a competitor's paper and ask Gemini to analyze not just the words, but the actual charts and graphs inside it.
So it can see the data visuals.
Exactly. Or, for your own supplementary materials, you could maybe use integrated tools like VO3 to generate short animated videos explaining a complex biological mechanism, say. And you could potentially include that with your grant.
So you could actually show the mechanism instead of just describing it.
Potentially, yeah. It opens up new ways to communicate complex ideas. It's processing a much richer data set than just text.
Okay, that's powerful. But for researchers, especially dealing with unpublished sensitive ideas, data protection must be a huge concern, right?
Oh, absolutely critical. Non-negotiable, really, for academic integrity. The good news is that the enterprise versions, like Google Workspace for Education or the Google AI Pro plans, they come with guarantees.
Guarantees.
Yeah, they ensure your data, your prompts, the stuff you generate, none of it is subject to human review by Google, And crucially, it's not used to train their underlying AI models.
So it provides a secure bubble for your work.
Precisely. A confidential environment for your IP and sensitive ideas. You really need that assurance for academic work.
Okay, so beyond the raw power and security, what about those more specialized features? The source mentions some power tools that make Gemini particularly useful for researchers.
Right, there are a few really interesting ones. One is deep research. Think of it like having your own personal, very smart research assistant.
How does it work?
You give it a prompt, it breaks it down, actively browses the web for information, and then synthesizes what it finds into a multi-page report, often with citations.
Sounds useful, but does it access academic journals?
That's the critical point. Mostly no. It primarily pulls from the open web, ordinary websites, not usually paywalled academic databases. But here's the twist. That's actually its strategic value for grant writing.
How so?
It becomes an amazing environmental scanning tool. It helps you map the broader context of your research problem. What's the public discourse? Are there industry applications? NGOs involved? What are competitors outside academia doing?
So it's less for the deep lit review and more for understanding the wider ecosystem your research fits into.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is gold for those broader impacts, innovation or commercialization potential sections in a grant. It helps you see beyond the lab.
That makes a lot of sense. What else? Canvas.
Yeah, Canvas is really cool. It's an interactive, collaborative workspace built right into Gemini. You can use it for refining documents, code, even visual prototypes in real time.
Code. You can work with code in there.
Yes, and that's probably its most powerful feature for researchers. It can generate, execute, and even preview code. So imagine asking Canvas to build a little interactive simulation of a biological process you're studying.
Wow.
Or maybe create a dynamic data visualization from your preliminary findings. Or even mock up a simple web app for, say, patient data entry.
So you could build a working prototype for the proposal.
Exactly. You can put it in the appendix. Instead of just telling the reviewer about your computational idea, you can literally show them a functional version. That tackles skepticism about technical feasibility head on.
Being able to demonstrate feasibility like that,
Yeah.
that feels like a massive advantage. Incredible.
It really is. And then finally, there are gems.
Yeah.
These are like customized, personalized versions of Gemini. You can essentially train a gem by giving it specific instructions and feeding it relevant documents. You mold it into an expert on a very specific topic or task.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. Imagine a professor creating an NIH R01 grant writing gem. They could feed it specific funding announcements, the agency's strategic plans, examples of successful R01s, maybe even public bios of typical study section reviewers.
And the gem would then?
It would then generate text, feedback, and suggestions highly aligned with the specific requirements and preferences for that particular NIH grant mechanism. It's like having a super specialized grant consultant on tap 24/7.
That sounds incredibly useful for tailoring applications, precisely. Okay, so that's Gemini. Huge context, understands multiple data types, secure, plus these power tools like deep research, Canvas, and GEMS.
Right, a powerful reasoning and creation engine.
But then there's Notebook LM, and you mentioned it operates on a totally different principle, right? Tackling a big AI challenge.
Exactly. Notebook LM's core philosophy is fundamentally different, and it's designed specifically to address AI's hallucination problem.
Hallucination where the AI just makes stuff up.
Precisely. Fictitious information, fake citations. Notebook LM avoids this because its analysis is grounded exclusively in the source materials you provide.
Only the documents I upload.
Only those. PDFs, Google Docs, web pages you add. It doesn't draw from the open internet or its general training data when answering your questions about those sources.
Okay, how does that work in practice?
The crucial part is verifiability. Every single statement Notebook LM makes in its response comes with an inline citation.
Like a footnote.
Exactly like that, but better. You click it, and it takes you directly to the precise passage in your original source document that supports the statement.
Wow, okay, so it's inherently verifiable. That sounds perfect for things like literature reviews.
Absolutely. It's ideal for reliable evidence gathering, synthesis, fact-checking against your known sources. It builds trust because you can always trace the information back.
So if Gemini is about expansive creative thinking, Notebook LM is about disciplined, verifiable synthesis from my curated library. That's a really key distinction for academic work.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And beyond just chatting with your documents, Notebook LM has some advanced features for synthesis, too.
Like what?
Well, there's mind maps. It can automatically generate an interactive visual map of the topics and concepts across all your uploaded sources. It shows you how ideas connect.
Visually.
Yep. For grant writing, that's amazing for spotting thematic clusters, seeing links between different subfields in your documents, or visually identifying potential research gaps you might have missed just by reading.
Visually mapping your research landscape. Yeah, I can see how that helps find those hidden connections. What else?
It can also create audio and video overviews.
Wait, it makes podcasts about my papers.
Sort of. It can transform your source documents into a podcast-style audio discussion, maybe with 2 AI voices discussing the key themes, arguments, and connections from the papers you uploaded. Or it could generate a simple educational video summarizing them.
That's kind of brilliant. A different way to review complex material.
Exactly. Great for auditory learners or maybe listening back where you're commuting. It's a novel way to internalize information.
A personalized study aid generator. What about these featured notebooks I've heard about? How do they fit in?
That's a really important recent development. Google is partnering with respected sources, think The Economist, researchers at places like University of Oxford, their Our World in Data project.
Okay, high-quality sources.
Right, and they create and share pre-curated, high-quality notebooks on specific topics, filled with expertly vetted documents. This directly tackles the garbage in, garbage out problem you can sometimes get with LLMs.
So the quality of the input is guaranteed.
Essentially, yes. And the huge benefit is it dramatically lowers the barrier for interdisciplinary research. Imagine you're a molecular biologist. You grab a featured notebook on human well-being, curated by sociologists, and rapidly identify potential societal links to your cellular work.
Without having to become a sociology expert overnight.
Exactly. It helps you quickly brainstorm those high-impact interdisciplinary grant ideas that funders often love, because the reliable background info is already curated for you.
Okay, that opens up some serious possibilities. So putting it all together, for researchers like us trying to use these tools effectively, it seems absolutely critical to use the right tool for the right job. Is that fair?
It's more than fair. It's essential. It's probably the single most important takeaway. There are complementary tools, not interchangeable ones.
Right.
Using Gemini Pro, which is geared for that unbounded reasoning, creative, generative tasks. If you try to use that for a rigorous lit review where accuracy is paramount, you're risking factual errors, those hallucinations.
Okay.
Conversely, if you try to use Notebook LM, which is designed for grounded synthesis, analytical, extractive tasks, based only on your sources, if you try to use that for broad, open-ended brainstorming about totally new ideas, you'll find it very limited. It can't invent things beyond your provided texts.
So Gemini is the brainstormer, the creator, the context mapper. Notebook LM is the rigorous, fact-checking librarian for your specific sources.
That's a great way to summarize it.
So a quick recap on strengths and weaknesses.
Sure. Gemini Pro, best for ideation, brainstorming novel hypotheses, drafting persuasive text, using deep research for that environmental scan, and Canvas for prototypes. Key limitation: prone to hallucination, always requires independent verification.
Got it. Verify everything from Gemini.
Everything. Notebook LM, best for literature review, evidence synthesis from your curated docs, fact-checking claims against those docs, summarizing known material, finding gaps within that defined literature. Key limitation: cannot generate info outside your provided sources. Its creativity is constrained by the input.
Okay, crystal clear. Knowing that distinction is vital, but it's not just about knowing the tools, right? It's about weaving them into a workflow.
Exactly. The real power comes from integrating them into a cohesive, multi-stage process. The source outlines a reimagined grant proposal journey using these tools.
Let's walk through that. How does this look, phase by phase? Starting with the idea itself.
Right. Phase I is all about ideation, hypothesis generation, and assessing novelty, finding that unique angle.
Okay.
Step 1. Start broad. Use Gemini's deep research for that initial topic exploration. Get a quick handle on the state-of-the-art, key players, published industry chatter, that environmental scan we talked about.
So cast a wide net first. Example prompt.
Maybe something like, generate a comprehensive report on current therapeutic strategies for glioblastoma, including leading research institutions, recent clinical trial failures and successes, and emerging biotechnologies discussed in industry publications. Get the big picture.
Okay, understand the landscape. Then what?
Step 2. Find the gaps. Now you switch to Notebook LM. You feed it a curated set of high-impact review articles in your specific area and use its grounded synthesis to systematically identify research gaps.
How would you prompt that?
You could ask, Based on these 15 uploaded articles, what are the most frequently cited limitations or areas for future research mentioned in the conclusion sections? Or maybe, which specific subpopulations seem to be consistently underrepresented or ignored in these studies? It finds the specific unaddressed questions for you.
That sounds way faster than doing it manually, a targeted way to find your niche.
It really accelerates finding that white space.
Yeah.
Then, step 3, generate novel hypotheses. You take those verified gaps you found with NotebookLM, and now you go back to Gemini Pro's creative power.
How? Just ask it for ideas.
You can, but a more powerful technique is multi-agent role-playing. You set up a scenario in the prompt. Like, act as a panel of 2 experts. One is a visionary but perhaps overly optimistic molecular biologist. The other is a deeply skeptical, pragmatic grant reviewer from an NIH study section. Based on this specific research gap I found, paste cap description, have these 2 experts debate and propose 3 distinct, innovative, but also testable hypotheses to address it.
Huh. So you make the AI argue with itself from different perspectives.
Exactly. It forces a more critical evaluation and generates more robust, well-considered ideas right from the start, like simulating peer review early on.
That's clever. Now, tell me more about this. Using hallucinations as hypotheses. That still sounds wild.
It is counterintuitive, but potentially powerful. Remember, AI hallucinations are outputs not directly supported by the training data. They're often factually wrong if presented as fact.
Right, that's the danger.
But in ideation, a hallucination can sometimes be a structurally plausible connection or idea that simply doesn't exist in the literature yet. It's a leap the AI made.
So a potentially novel connection.
Potentially. You treat these outputs not as facts, but as high-risk, high-reward testable propositions. There was that amazing proof of concept where GPT-4 suggested novel drug combinations for breast cancer based on hallucinated connections, and some were later validated in the lab.
Wow. So AI mistakes could actually spark genuine innovation.
That's the idea. It's about using the AI to generate unexpected possibilities and then applying rigorous scientific method and your expert judgment to test them. It's augmenting discovery, not replacing it.
Okay, mind slightly blown. So that's phase 1, finding and shaping the core idea. What's phase 2?
Phase 2 is the comprehensive literature review and synthesis. This is firmly NotebookLM territory.
Makes sense. Step 1.
Step 1. Establish NotebookLM as your central hub. Create a dedicated notebook for the project. Upload everything relevant PDFs, your notes, book chapters, key web pages, make it the single source of truth for your literature base.
Get organized. A central repository.
Exactly. Step 2 is then interactive synthesis using the chat feature. This turns passive reading into an active dialogue with your entire literature collection. You use advanced prompts for higher-level analysis.
Give me some examples.
Okay, for thematic synthesis, synthesize the main arguments about neuroinflammation and early Alzheimer's using sources 3, 8, and 14. First, outline points of consensus, then detail specific disagreements.
Nice. Comparing ideas across papers.
Or, for methodological comparison, create a table comparing the experimental models used in sources 5 through 10. Include columns for model type, sample size, key interventions, outcome measures.
Automating those comparison tables. Huge time saver.
Or even for intellectual history. Trace the development of the amyloid cascade hypothesis. Identify the key papers that proposed it, supported it, and challenged it. Pull direct quotes from the main critics.
It's like having a tireless expert research assistant who knows all your papers inside out.
That's exactly the feeling.
Okay.
Phase 3. Drafting the narrative. Moving from evidence to persuasion. The key here is a 2-step extract then draft method. Very important for ethics and quality.
Extract, then draft. Okay.
Step 1. Extract evidence with NotebookLM. For each section of your grant significance innovation approach, you ask NotebookLM targeted questions to pull out specific facts, stats, findings, or quotes from your verified sources. For the significance section, extract all statistics from the uploaded CDC and WHO reports that quantify the annual economic and social burden of type 2 diabetes in the U.S. You save these verified outputs, complete with their citations.
So NotebookLM gathers the verified building blocks.
Precisely. Step 2. Draft with Gemini Pro using that extracted evidence. You feed these pre-verified factual snippets into Gemini Pro, again using those sophisticated role-playing prompts.
Why feed it the facts first?
Because grounding the prompt in verified information significantly reduces the chance of Gemini hallucinating. It anchors the creative writing to a solid factual base.
Smart. So how would that prompt look?
For significance, act as an expert grant writer. Using only the following statistics paste extracted stats, write a 500-word significance section for an NIH grant. Ensure the tone is urgent but professional.
Okay.
For innovation. Act as a thought leader in cardiovascular research. Based on this identified literature gap, described gap, and my novel hypothesis, the state hypothesis, draft a 300-word innovation section. Emphasize why this approach is transformative, not just incremental. Got it. And for the approach methodology. You are a meticulous technical writer. For my first specific aim, describe aim, explain the rationale, techniques, and expected outcomes. Crucially, include a subsection on potential problems and alternative strategies.
So you guide the structure and provide the verified facts, and Gemini helps articulate it persuasively.
Exactly. The human provides the verified inputs and the strategic direction. The AI assists with the initial drafting. It keeps you in control and maintains intellectual ownership.
That sounds like a really effective and ethical workflow. Okay, finally, phase 4. Methodology design, timelines, budgets.
Right. AI can assist here too. For AI-assisted experimental design, think of Gemini as a virtual consultant. You describe your proposed experiment.
And ask it to find flaws.
Basically, yes. Prompt it like, critique this experimental design for a placebo-controlled drug trial, describe design. What are potential weaknesses in the methodology, controls, or analysis plan? Suggest specific improvements. It helps you pressure test your ideas.
Like having a critical colleague review your plan before you commit resources.
Exactly. Find blind spots early. Gemini can also help develop timelines and budgets. It can draft initial project timelines, maybe visualize them as a Gantt chart.
Okay, project management help.
And importantly, it can help draft the budget justification, that narrative part where you explain why you need each item.
Oh, that's often tricky to write well.
Right, so you could prompt, based on a 3-year project with these aims, create a Gantt chart timeline, then write a detailed budget justification for personnel. 1 postdoc, 1 technician at 50%, equipment, confocal microscope, and supplies, reagents, media. Explain why each is essential for success.
So it helps articulate the need for that expensive piece of equipment or those specific reagents.
Exactly. It tackles some of those really tedious but absolutely critical parts of the application.
This whole phased approach, it really does seem to outline a systematic way to leverage each tool's strengths at the right time. It's a cohesive strategy.
That's the goal, using them intelligently together.
So we've laid out how powerful and efficient these tools can be. A real transformation. But, with great power comes great responsibility. We need to talk about the ethics, the limitations. Yeah. What are the minefields here?
Absolutely critical conversation. It's not just about capability, it's about responsibility. First up, data privacy and confidentiality. This is huge.
Why?
Using standard consumer-grade AI tools for sensitive grain ideas is risky. Your unpublished data, your novel concepts, could potentially get absorbed into the model's training data, inadvertently exposing your IP.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is why using enterprise-grade, privacy-focused versions like Google Workspace for education or the AI Pro plans isn't just nice, it's essentially mandatory for serious research. They contractually guarantee your data stays private and isn't used for training.
So, step 1, use the right, secure platform. Got it.
Non-negotiable. Second, plagiarism and intellectual ownership.
Yeah.
Generative AI can produce text that's unintentionally plagiaristic if you're not careful.
How do you avoid that?
Remember, AI is an assistant. For ideation, for first drafts, fine. But the final submitted text must be substantially rewritten, edited, and ultimately owned by you, the human researcher. Your unique contribution has to be clear.
So that extract then draft method helps here too.
It's key. It keeps clear lines. You provide the facts and direction. The AI assists drafting, but you synthesize and refine it into your own work. The AI isn't the author.
Right. Human in the loop is central. What about telling the funders?
Good point. Disclosure to funding agencies. Transparency is vital for trust. The consensus seems to be moving towards researchers being prepared to disclose if and how they used AI tools in proposal prep, especially if the funder asks directly.
So be upfront if asked.
Exactly. Check the specific funders' guidelines. They're evolving rapidly. Honesty maintains trust in the system.
Makes sense. Okay, ethics covered. What about the inherent limitations? What can't these tools do well yet?
The biggest one is still the hallucination problem. We've touched on it, but it bears repeating. AI can confidently state falsehoods, invent data, cite papers that don't exist.
So the rule is?
Adopt a zero-trust approach. Every single factual claim, every statistic, every citation generated by a tool like Gemini must be independently verified against reliable primary sources. Full stop.
No shortcuts on fact-checking. That's where NotebookLM's grounding is so valuable for the evidence part.
Precisely. Then there's the nuance and creativity deficit. Current AI lacks true human creativity, that deep strategic insight, the subtle understanding of a field's history or controversies.
It can't replicate passion or a unique perspective.
Not really. Can't capture that authentic voice, the lived experience, the why behind the research that reviewers connect with. A grant proposal is fundamentally an argument. A story, AI isn't mastering that art yet.
So the human spark is still essential.
Absolutely. And finally, beware the generic output trap. If you rely too heavily on AI, especially with lazy prompts, you risk getting bland, formulaic text.
Stuff that sounds like, well, like an AI wrote it.
Exactly. Experienced reviewers can often spot it. It lacks competitive edge, feels uninspired, you lose your unique voice.
Okay, so it's definitely augmentation, not automation. The human role remains central. So what's the model for making this human-AI collaboration work effectively?
The source calls it the Manifesto for Human AI Collaboration. The researcher in the loop. It's about shifting your mindset.
How so?
Your role evolves. You're not just writing anymore. You're the architect designing the research questions, the overall strategy, the prompts. You're the critic rigorously evaluating everything the AI produces. And you're the final editor injecting nuance, your unique voice, the strategic vision.
Architect, critic, editor, I like that. It's a more strategic role.
Exactly. It requires mastering the art of prompting. The output quality depends directly on the input quality. You need to move beyond simple questions to crafting thoughtful, explicit, multi-step instructions, guiding the AI's process.
Like learning a new skill, prompt engineering.
It is, and the workflow becomes an iterative refinement loop. It's a cycle. You prompt AI to generate. You review and critique. You refine the prompt based on the critique. You tell the AI to regenerate. You repeat.
A constant dialogue.
Yes, with the human providing the critical judgment, the context, the strategic direction at every single turn.
So the human is always steering the ship.
Always. And the final word really is, the human element is decisive. AI is an incredibly powerful amplifier, a tool to streamline the tedious stuff, freeing you up for deeper, more creative, more strategic thinking. But your expertise, your critical judgment, your unique scientific vision, those are irreplaceable. That's what wins grants.
We've certainly taken a deep dive today into the new paradigm of scholarly proposal crafting. We've explored how these advanced AI tools, Gemini Pro, Notebook LM, they aren't just small improvements. They really do feel like a new class of tool for thinking, for synthesis, for communication.
A new kind of instrumentation.
And we've seen how that strategic phase integration we talked about can genuinely boost both the efficiency and the quality of research proposals. It really does reimagine the whole grant writing journey.
But it's so important to remember, as we discussed, that this power comes with risks. Hallucinations are real. Unintentional plagiarism is a danger. Data security is paramount.
Right.
So those pillars for academic integrity are absolutely essential. Stick to enterprise-grade platforms, maintain that zero-trust policy for AI facts, be transparent with funders, and always, always commit to being the researcher in the loop. Your integrity is everything.
Ultimately, it feels like successfully adopting this technology really hinges on a philosophical shift, doesn't it?
I think so.
Seeing AI not as some magic box you just hand tasks off to, but as this powerful, yes, but also flawed collaborator, one that needs constant guidance, critique, and your intellectual leadership.
Well put. The human element, used wisely and ethically, becomes an amplifier.
So here's something to think about. How might this new collaborative future between human ingenuity and AI transform not just proposal writing, but maybe the actual pace and nature of scientific discovery itself? Could it let us explore frontiers that were previously just unreachable?
What stands out to you from this deep dive into the new paradigm of scholarly proposal crafting? Hopefully you found some useful insights here today.